B'Shem Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach Shiur Torah. Baruch Hashem, good to be here. We have another shiur, we're a second day of Hanukah, 5778, 2017, the year of the Notzrim, Christian year. The shiur will also be Ilui Nishmat, Yosef ben Avraham, and also Rav Steinemann. Zot Hashem, Dosh Baruch Hu, will give them a favorable, easy judgment in Shamayim, and their schut will protect us. Because right now, in the generation that we're in, the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 97a, says that before Mashiach comes, unfortunately, the amount of Chachamim is going to decrease in the world. And in the last 24 hours, there was both of these precious souls left the world. Obviously, Rav Steinemann, the Gedol Ador, and Yosef ben Avraham, also a Avrech and a Kollel. And it breaks your heart. You see how people really don't understand what the Torah is, what the Mesirut Nefesh that these people have made in their life for the Torah. We're in a generation not only of yetomim, of people that are orphaned from the Gedolei Ador, where there's very few left, but we're also a generation of, unfortunately, people that are clueless of what's the truth, what's fake, what's important, what's not important, what's real, what's not. Not a day passes, and I don't have somebody sending me some type of message that they want to talk to a mekubal. They want to talk to a mekubal. Do I know any mekubal that I can connect them with? Because they need advice. What do you need advice about? I need advice about marriage. I need advice about kids. I need advice about, basic day-to-day things. And the reality is that people don't actually understand what a mekubal means. And that's not necessarily just their fault. It's also the Baba's fault. The people that claim to be Mekubalim. Unfortunately, there's certain places in the world that are infested with them, like Brooklyn, New York, different places in Israel, and other places around the world have these fake Babas that are distorting the Torah and mamash turning it into Avodah Zarah. Where they're telling people, listen, just buy this book that you don't understand how to read it, put it in your library, pay me $15,000, drink some strange water that I filled up, and from the fountain, but I'm telling you it's valuable and everything's going to be okay. Then bad things happen to the person's life. Oh, I think he was short. Maybe it's another $15,000. And they tell people to do strange things, and the reality is that they do not tell them to do the real things that they're obligated to do. One time I went to, was doing a shiur at this Bekneset, and right before me, there was somebody there meeting with a couple, young couple, and I'm waiting outside, because it was only them. I'm knocking on the door, because it was early. I'm knocking. I see there's somebody there. It's not like there's somebody there. I see it, so I'm knocking. Nobody's answering. I wait 5, 10, 6, 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes waiting. I don't want to intrude, but at the same token, eventually I go inside, and the person passes me like as if I don't exist. The two people that he was talking to were not people of Torah life, if you will. The woman was barely wearing any clothes, and the man didn't have even a simple kippah on. But I saw, within 5 seconds, you can tell this was one of those Baba conversations. They want to give him a few dollars so he could solve their problems. And this happens every single day. Every day you have these different fake people that tell people that if you just give them a little bit of money and you do something strange, everything is going to be fixed. And what happens, the reason why this is a critical situation is because this is one of the unfortunate Chilul Hashems of the world that is destroying the religion, because it makes Judaism seem like something very, very different than what it really is. This was also one of the things that the Greeks, Imach Shimam, were also trying to do. They tried to distort the Torah in such a way, like we were talking about last night, where they said, listen, it's very nice, it's very interesting, it's mentally stimulating, just remove God from it and everything's okay, we'll put it in our library. We'll remove the God thing from it, remove the obligation to do everything. Remove that part. Make it as if there's a new rule, there's no obligation, and let's just study Torah together, the Greeks and the Jews, everyone becomes one nation. And to testify to this, we want you guys to publicize that you have no share in the God of Israel anymore. How? By writing it on the horns of your bulls. Your bulls that you have, write it on the horns of the bulls. This is as if you put a bumper sticker on your windshield of your car saying, I have no share in the God of Israel. And that's what the Greeks wanted Am Yisrael to do, and unfortunately got some of them to do it. They call those people mityavnim, or in English, Hellenists. They didn't change a lot, at least that's what it seemed like. They said just change one thing. I'm not telling you to change the whole thing. I'm not telling you to change the whole Torah. I'm not telling you to change the storyline. Just remove the obligation part. Seems like one change, one tiny little thing, is not such a big deal. Remove Yirat Shamayim, and everything's going to be okay, they tell you. And unfortunately, that's how bad things are always born. And it started with the Greek War. If you notice, one of the things that makes Hanukkah very different than all of the other holidays is that Hanukkah is not mentioned literally in the Torah. It's a rabbinical holiday. But the Chachamim say that this holiday could very well be the holiest holiday of all. More than everything. Where do we know this from? We know this because there is only all the mitzvot. You're not obligated to sell your clothes for them, except two. There's two mitzvot that if you can't afford to do them, they say go sell your clothes. Sell your clothes. One of them is the 4 glasses of wine for Pesach. And the second one is the candles for Hanukah. You don't have money for candles of Hanukah, the oil for Hanukah, go sell your clothes. But it's a rabbinical holiday. Pesach, you can understand, it's the Oraita, it's from the Torah. You can understand, fine. But a rabbinical holiday? Sell your clothes? Yeah. Why? So with Pesach, the significance of it is very easy to explain. It reminds us that the God of Israel decided that it was time, it was the place, and it was precisely dictated from the minute he created the world, obviously, to take Am Yisrael out of Egypt at the time of Pesach. The whole story of the 10 Commandments and everything that happened in Mount Sinai first started in Egypt. And when Hashem tells Am Yisrael each time in the Torah, I am your God, he doesn't say, I'm your God that created the world. He says, I'm your God that took you out of Egypt. So one of the Kofrim, the Gemara says, one of the heretics, came to Rabbi Akiva. He says, why do you say such a thing? Why do you always say in your Torah, God says, I am the God that took you out of Egypt? Why does he say, I'm your God that created the world? If this is a God, he created the world. Why? God just started. He started working on during Egypt. That's it. Before that, nothing. Autopilot. He says God knows his creation, and he knows that if he said, "I'm God that created the world," everyone's going to have an excuse. Who said? Who was there? Who's the witness? Anybody saw it? Is there any writings? Is there any pictures? Is there any this? Is there any that? You know, it's the same thing with people. They look at a lecture, 3 hours, 3-hour lecture. Oh, I never heard of this. I never heard this 1 second thing that I said. I don't know, I think he made a mistake. He said Rabban Gamliel instead of Rabbi Hillel. No, that's a mistake. The whole thing is canceled. The whole thing is canceled. No Shabbat, no kosher, no Tarat Mishpacha, no this. The whole thing is why? He may use the wrong rabbi's name. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know. So Hashem knows His creation. The Creator knows His creation. He says, if I would have said, I'm the God that created the world, somebody would have said something. So I said, I'm the God that took you out of Egypt. Why? You had millions of witnesses. And if one of them didn't agree, you would have said it right there and then. Why? Because the book that I wrote was written about the people that received it. Meaning the same characters that it's in the book are the ones receiving it. Meaning we got the Torah, Mount Sinai, up to Parashat Yitro, up to the 10 Commandments. Meaning up to that point, all of the characters that are getting the Torah, all the people that are mentioned in there, are the people receiving it. So if you would have said, listen, you saw my voice in the sky. Hashem said, Moshe Rabbeinu told Am Yisrael, don't you remember you saw Hashem's voice in the sky? It was millions of people. Some say there was 3 million, some say there was 30 million. I mean, high, big numbers. Either way, it's a lot. It's more than a few people that showed up to my shiur today. Point is that a lot of people, if one guy say, hey, Moshe, hold on a second, before you give us Tarat Mishpacha, kosher, this, that, before you give us all the laws, wait, you have a verse here. It says, everyone saw the voice. I didn't see it. I didn't see the voice. If what he says is true, we have a problem. Why? Torah is not true. There's a mistake. So Hashem says, I'm the God that took you out of Egypt. So Pesach is the beginning. The beginning of Am Yisrael. The Chachamim also consider it really the real Rosh Hashanah. The real Rosh Hashanah is then. Fine, that explains Pesach. There's many, many other things, obviously, we could talk about, but not to overextend it. People are complaining about how long the shurim are, so I'm trying to cut it short, guys. So, fine, Pesach, amen. Fine, Pesach is, we understand. What about Hanukah? Hanukah is a rabbinical holiday. Why do you have to sell your clothes in order to raise money for the candles? If you don't have money, chash v'shalom, to buy the candles, to buy the oil for the candles, why do you have to sell your clothes? And the Chachamim say, the reason is because that was the turning point for Am Yisrael. The Greek exile, the Greek war, the whole story of Hanukah changed eternity. It seems like just a nice, interesting story for kids. A few heroes fought a big nation. They beat them. Yay for us. They happened to be religious guys. They light the menorah. Yay for us again. Maybe somebody invented to make a little bit of money to pay for the more oil. He invented the sevivon. So they started playing the sevivon maybe. Who knows? Marketing. Who knows? Sounds like a nice holiday. Fun. Yay. We eat some donuts. Get fat. Great. Even another excuse for us to be fat. Baruch Hashem. What? This sounds nice. Sounds nice. Why are you saying it's so religious? Turning point. No turning point. What's so turning point about it? Latke Baruch Hashem. Labriut. Enjoy. What's the turning point? Amen. What's the turning point, Ribono Shel Olam? What's the turning point? It's Hanukkah, you light some candles, Baruch Hashem. What's the turning point? Okay, so we have another holiday. What's the turning? What's this Hanukkah? Kodesh Kodeshim, they call it. They say it's the holiest of holidays. How? Before the whole war of the Greeks, every war we had, every enemy we had, was simply interested in killing bodies. The Egyptians were simply interested in killing the Israelites. They cared less about their beliefs. They cared less about their culture. They cared less about everything else. They wanted to make them slaves, and if they weren't good slaves, they just simply killed them. The Babylonians, no different. Nebuchadnezzar, Rasha, was not interested in changing any religion. He was simply interested in killing Jews. That's it. He wanted to take over. He already had a predestined, before he even understood the significance of his position, he was actually friends, teenage friends with Jeremiah. And they were both walking one day. And he says to Jeremiah, if I ever get the power, first thing I'm going to do is destroy Bet HaMikdash. And Jeremiah, being a prophet, knew that what he said actually is going to come true. He said, no, don't destroy Bet HaMikdash. Go somewhere else. Go this, go that. Go. He tried, because Jeremiah knew this is Sha'at Ratzon. He knew that what he said right now, Nebuchadnezzar didn't even know what's happening. But Jeremiah knew. So he tried negotiating with him. No, instead of Bet HaMikdash, go here. Instead of Am Yisrael, go here. Instead of all of this, go here. Start negotiating with them. Nebuchadnezzar said, no, I want Dafka. But he didn't want to destroy Judaism per se. He wanted to kill Jews. The Assyrians, no different. The Greeks, on the other hand, were the first ones to want to kill Judaism. Quite frankly, they didn't have an interest in killing Jews. They just wanted to kill Judaism. They didn't have an interest in killing the lefty liberals. They wanted to put them in government. And that's what they did. Who do they want to remove from the earth? The really religious folks. But since it's not a nice thing, it's not politically correct to just go kill people, I said, listen, guys, what do you need to go to Kollel, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month if you're a genius? For what? Come, work for our government. We'll pay you $10,000 a month. Take off this schmuck that you have around you. Look like a Greek. Come with us to the stadium. Watch some sports. Chase everything. Chase the ball. Chase the this. Chase the that. That's it. What do you need all this craziness for? In essence, their job was to get people to leave it. Now they realized right away it wasn't happening very quickly. Some fell off, but not many. So the Greek mentality was very unique. They were actually smart. And they did something that no other people ever did before. And unfortunately, we're still suffering from it until this day. One of the things that Rav Hutner says in his book, that's really scary, is that Hanukah is a root for a couple of words, there's a few different things. But one of the things that we celebrate is that Hanukkah is holiday of miracles, and so on. But also, something that's very interesting is that it's a reminder of a war that we're still fighting. Not a war that we fought. It's a war that we're still fighting now. How are we still fighting now? Greeks died. Even though there's some people today called Greeks, it's not the same Greeks from 2,000 years ago. They're not connected. So what war are we fighting? He says what happened 2,000 years ago changed the face of the earth. Because what the Greeks realized is that to kill Am Yisrael, we have to use the instruction set of Bilam, the only one that ever got close to destroying Am Yisrael. Bilam HaRasha was a prophet himself, knew that to curse Am Yisrael, not possible. He tried 3 times, it didn't work. To get them to stop being religious just by telling them, it's not going to happen. So what do? You have to make them do something that's going to disconnect them from Hashem Yitbarach. So he sent them a bunch of immodest girls. Now, we already fell for that trick. Almost all of us died. 24,000 Jews died in that moment. But almost all of them died until Pinchas put a stop to it. But the Greeks realized that the Jewish enemy, the biggest one, the biggest Jewish enemy is himself. The biggest enemy of the Jews is himself. The biggest poison to the relationship between a Jew and Hashem Yitbarach is himself. And they realized that if we convince them to act like animals, we don't have to fight them. Now, I have a student. She has all these pets. There's a lot of pets. I don't know if she has a shelter of pets or she has the pets herself. I'm not really sure, but the numbers she tells me, she has 20 cats and 10 dogs and like a zoo. I'm thinking she probably has, I don't know, a building or something. I don't know people. But anyway, she tells me she has all these pets and 20 cats and dogs and this and that. That's what you want to do with your life. God bless you. What can I tell you? Fine. Some people, listen, to be honest with you, until I had my own children, I was 100% sure that my dog was better than any human being in the world. And quite frankly, he probably still is. And he died already 2 years ago. Did tshuva. So, she likes the pets, she likes the cats and the dogs and the birds and all these different things. Fine, Baruch Hashem. So one time she said, I think there was a picture, it was sent or posted somewhere, whatever I saw somewhere. And they had a video, it was like a little video. Somebody gives a cat, a little tiny little cat, little kitten, probably no older than a month, 2 months. They give him a little ball, give the little cat a ball. And the cat goes crazy with the ball. He's playing with the ball. It doesn't stop. For hours he's with the ball. Or they have another one. I remember I saw they had like this new gadget where it's a light. And wherever the cat goes, the light goes somewhere else. And he keeps chasing it for hours. For hours he's chasing this ball or this light. And he's chasing and he never gets bored. Amazing. Amazing, brilliant technology. Brilliant and simple. The Greeks were smart enough, were brilliant enough to know they can turn the Jew into that too. He said, come to our stadium, watch the baseball, and the football, and the basketball, and the soccer ball, and this ball, and that ball, and all the balls, watch them, keep going, and going, and going, and going, and going, and going. And so long as you're chasing the balls everywhere, and this guy jumps here with the ball, and that one kicks the ball here, and you're chasing the balls everywhere, you're not learning Torah. Baruch Hashem. Even the Greeks said Baruch Hashem. The Greeks said Baruch Hashem. Why? Because the Jew is in the stadium. He's distracted with the ball. He forgot about God. He's so distracted with the ball, he forgot he's a Jew b'chlal. We are chasing balls all day, baseballs and footballs and soccer balls and cricket balls and this ball and that ball, and every day there's a new game of a ball, and we've turned into cats. We've turned into a nation of cats. So this lady with all 20 cats, like a little Moshe Rabbeinu. What's going to happen? We're chasing all of this. The mentality that we have today to modernize Judaism, they call it modern Orthodox, they call it modern this or modern that, is no different than Greek mentality. It's no different. The Greeks said, listen, put God on the side. The modern mentality, regardless of what you want to call it, I care less for labels. The modern mentality, reform, conservative, whatever, anyone that says other than what it says in the Torah, anyone that says that Torah is not number one, anyone that claims that Torah is just one of the mitzvot, not the mitzvah of the Torah, anyone that says that it's just one of the mitzvot, but there are many others, that mentality to modernize the Torah is no different whatsoever than the Greek mentality. In essence, what they're saying, put God aside and just play with the ball. Do something else. To tell Am Yisrael that it's okay that something else can become your priority has been one of the destructions of our nation. We're so busy chasing money. We're so busy chasing something, we forgot why we're even here. Now, the Greeks were brilliant. They realized that to just get us to chase the ball, it's not going to be easy. Why? It wasn't really a ball back then. It was a bunch of guys killing each other, killing lions, killing tigers, killing this, killing that. How are we going to get the Jews to come? They're going to think that if we ask them to come, we're going to kill them. So how do we do it? Remember we just said, who's the biggest enemy of the Jew? The Jew. Okay, so let's get a few Jews, pay them off, and get them to be the recruiters. Hey, listen, what? You're a cola, you make $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month? No, where's God now? Okay, God sent me. I'm going to give you 10,000. God, you believe in God, right? God sent me, I'll give you 10,000. Little by little, he believes less and less, he forgets more and more, and he becomes the number one recruiter for the Greeks. And for the first time in history, the Jew officially became part of the enemy. There was no such thing as Egyptian sympathizers. There was no such thing as Babylonian sympathizers. There was no such thing as Assyrian sympathizers. There was no Jews Assyrians, Jewish Babylonians, Jewish Egyptians, no such thing. But there was Mityavnim. There were Jews that became Yevanim. They became Greeks. For the first time in history, the Jew became part of the enemy. And for those that think that the battle that we're talking about in Hanukah happened 2,000 years ago, they haven't read the current news, current affairs. The world we live in today, many people deny the Holocaust. Many. Despite the fact that there's documentation, despite the fact that there is film, despite the fact that there's pictures, witnesses, and so on, many deny it. Even more so, some like to deny some parts of the story. One part of the story is that some of the Nazis were actually Jews. Not many, but some. Even more so, if you precede that story, you go to Russia. Communist Russia. Who was it started by? Jews. Yevsektia from Russia were the number one haters of Judaism. They themselves were Jews. The Greek mentality of making a Jew an enemy in his own house is still alive and well. The Reform that pretend to be religious by having their women wear tefillin at the kotel with no clothes on. The conservative mentality that tells you it's okay to drive on Shabbat to Beit Knesset or anywhere else if you want. The kumbaya type of mentality where everyone is welcome and everyone is friends and we can do deals with the Christians that unfortunately is now being done by some people that call themselves Orthodox rabbis. There are some very well-known Orthodox rabbis that are not in the pockets of the Christians. They're partnerships. It's out in the open. It's huge multi-million-dollar organizations, Judeo-Christian organizations. They say, oh, we're Zionists, we love Israel, we love Hashem, we love this. We're just going to work on our common beliefs. We're going to work on our common beliefs. This mentality is a war we're still fighting today. Now, there's different parts of this war. First thing we have to acknowledge is that we're still fighting it. And we're fighting it because of one simple thing. It wasn't a big thing. It was a big thing. But there's one thing they told you. Listen, just one tiny little thing. You have a Torah, it's good, great. Just remove God from it. The whole Yirat Shamayim thing, you guys are afraid. Come on. What, covenant? You have a Shabbat? No, make it a different day. Do something else. What, the covenant Brit Milah? You cut yourself? Come on, no guys, sweet. We're already year 2000, years ago. Already year 2000, guys. No, come on. You gotta still cut yourself. That's Abraham Avinu, long time ago. Come on, modernize with us. Cutting the small things. Cutting the small things we talked about last night makes a very big difference. The modern mentality that does not want to believe in miracles and wants to always explain them in a rational way is a poison that's alive and well and growing, as a matter of fact. And one of the things you were mentioning before is people that claim that, the whole mystical aspect of Judaism altogether is not real, shouldn't be taken on literally, and many of these people claim to use big names, like the Rambam. Say that the Rambam did not believe in mystical aspect of Judaism. This could not be further from the truth. If you actually read the work of the Rambam, which none of these people actually do, you realize that not only does he understand that it's very much a foundational principle of Judaism, that Hashem is above nature, He is nature, He's a creator, but even more so, that some of the things that are mentioned in the Gemara that are beyond our logic are very much literal. Some may not be, but some definitely are. And there's actually a very amazing story I told you guys in a lecture several months ago. It's written in a new book by Rav Mazuz, one of the current Gedolei Ador. And he writes in the book, amazing story, that the Rambam was the chief doctor for the Egyptian king, I believe. And the king liked him a lot, and they became friendly, and they played chess. And the Rambam would always win. I'm sorry, the king would always win. The Rambam would always let him win. But the king knew that the Rambam was letting him win. So the king said, I've had it. I want you to play for real. And I'm putting everything on it. No, Kvodo, you don't need to. No. I'm commending you as the king. You have to play for real. Whoever wins has to convert to the other's religion. Because you know that the only thing that's important for Rambam is not money, it's not women, it's not material, it's none of this. It's only Hashem. So now he says, if you have to play for real. You can't fake it anymore. Because if you lose, you have to convert to Islam. So now, the Rambam is forced into this, and he writes in the book, he says that the Rambam writes in himself that the moment that the game began, he lost all of his siyata dishmaya. He felt as if his head became empty. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know some of the rules. He didn't know what's happening. He didn't know how to win anymore. It's like all of his chokhmah left, went away, went on vacation. At the worst possible time. And the king is winning. One move, another move, another move. He gets closer. Check, closer, check, closer. Shem Yerachem. The Rambam doesn't know what to do with himself. He got to another point of check. Check meaning we're one move away from losing the game. Shem Yerachem. And being forced to convert. At that moment, someone abruptly entered the room. Tall, very well-to-do person, says, yes, can I help you? So I'm here, Your Highness, to sue the Rambam. He stole 200 zuz from me, and I'm here to claim the money. King looks at the Rambam. No, Rambam, come on, it's not nice. Come on, it's not honorable for somebody like you. Take $200? 200 zuz? You, Rambam, I'll give it to you. You don't have money. I'll give it. Rambam, you worked for me. You work for me. You're going to steal $200. It's not nice. He says, Your Honor, I don't even know who this guy is. I don't know who this guy is. I have never seen him. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he's claiming. It's all nonsense. So the king says, Hey, I believe what Rambam is saying. It's not real what you're saying. Rabbi Moshe, he doesn't lie. He says, listen, I knew that he was going to do this. So I'm willing to accept his swear. If he swears in my language that he did not take the money, I'm willing to accept it. In front of you, Your Highness. So, okay. So Rambam comes up to him, and he starts telling him, speaking to him in Hebrew. The king doesn't know Hebrew. He says, that one, move it to the right. That one, move it to the left. That one, move it to the right. He gives him the moves of how to win the chess game. He gives him all the moves. 3 seconds, the king is thinking that he's talking in their common language, telling him an agreement. And the Rambam is going to say, yes, thank you. Go away. But in essence, what is he doing? He's telling the moves, this is how you're going to win the game. After that, thank you very much, he leaves. Hope, experience 3 minutes. He goes back to the game. The king is excited. He only has 1 move to win. Less than 2 minutes later, he loses the entire game. He has no clue what hit him, what right, what left. How did the Rambam just do all of this? He just wanted to lose it. He goes, how did you do it? Finally, after all these years, I was going to win. What happened? Now, Rambam was an ish emet. Meaning, when you're ish emet, you don't even know how to lie. Lying is not an option. He says, Your Highness, to be honest with you, you know that man, that strange man that just came here, that very respectable, tall, nice man? Yeah. He told me how to beat you. What do you mean he told you how to beat me? How did he know? I don't know. He told me all the moves, I followed everything he said, and that's how I beat you. King screams, find him! All the soldiers, they start going in his markets looking for this guy. They find him, they bring him back. Yes, who are you? My name is Avraham Ibn Ezer. Where are you from? Spain. Spain. We're in Egypt. Where are you from? Spain. When did you get here? Today. When did you leave Spain? Today. Wait, hold on a second. This is 900 years ago. Where'd you come from? Spain. Where are you today? Egypt. When did you leave? Today. When did you get here? Today. You don't have airlines. You don't have American Airlines, Egypt Airlines, this airline, that. How'd you get here today? Was this craziness? You think we're all crazy here? It's the king you're talking to. Don't insult all intelligence. I said, no. He goes, Your Highness, I'll tell you what happened. Last night I went to sleep, and I had some holy figures appear in my dream. And they told me, tomorrow at this specific time, you must go and appear at the king's house, the king of Egypt's house, and save this tzaddik, one of the Gedolei Ador. Save him. Save him by telling him exactly what to do to win in a chess match. Okay, great, you had a dream. Congratulations with the dream. We all have dreams. Paro had a dream in this week's parasha. I have dreams all the time. It means what? It's okay, so I came here. Oh, still, you didn't explain how'd you get here today. Oh, that's easy. I use Shema Meforaj. I use the name of Hashem. And I got here. I can do whatever I want with that name. Kabbalah stuff. Mystical. The king thought he was joking. And the Rambam says, no, Your Highness, he's serious. I could do it too. What do you mean you could do it too? I could do it too. No, do it. Okay, what do you want me to do? He goes, okay, there is a cafe in the city that's 5 days away. 5 days away. Go there, get me one of their coffees with a receipt, and especially one of the things that they have from there, with a signature from the owner, you went there, whatever. All the different signs that you went over there. Okay, I'll be right back. He leaves the door, 5 minutes later, he's back. With the coffee, with everything, here you go, Your Honor. That's in Rav Mazuz's book. So, to say the Rambam didn't believe in mystical aspect of Judaism is stupid. It's beyond stupid. It's beyond ignorant. Now, why do such people do such things? The reason why is because people don't like to read the entire book or the entire set of books. So they read Google. They read Wikipedia. They read a few things on the internet, a few paragraphs, somebody's article. They don't verify who wrote it. They don't know if it's a kofar. They don't know if it's a Christian. They don't know if it's the full contents of the book. They don't know anything. All they know is, oh, it was on the internet, therefore it's true. I remember there used to be a commercial, Shem Erechem, in the days I used to watch TV. There's a commercial. Some woman came to a friend, and it was like a joke. They made fun of the internet. Like, hey, why are you doing such and such? He goes, well, I saw it on the internet. Oh, if it's on the internet, it must be true. It must be true if it's on the internet. So people, they see Yad HaChazakah, they see Mishneh Torah. It's big books. Got big books. The collection from Am Loez, English, Hebrew, 18 books. It's too big for me. Give me a short version. Give me a Wikipedia, 1 page. So they read the 1 page, they think it's like they read the whole 18 pages. Or they do something even better. Something better. What do? They say, no, 18 books, halacha, this, that. That's not for me. I'm not looking to learn halacha. I'm looking to learn Greek philosophy, this philosophy, that philosophy. Let me read Moreh Nevuchim. Let me read in English Guide of the Perplexed. The most complicated book in all of Judaism. Where even if you're a Talmid Chacham, you'll still be confused. When I told my Rav, I'm going to buy this book, he says, no problem. You want to buy the book? Buy the book. I said, okay, Baruch Hashem. No, he goes, buy the book. I said, read the book. Fine. Don't ask me any questions. Don't ask me any questions. Why? He goes, don't ask this. One book, don't ask me any questions. Ask questions about anything else you want. Don't ask any questions. Why? Moreh Nevuchim. What are you reading Moreh Nevuchim for? What are you doing? It's different. It's beyond you. You have to be prepared. You have to be at a certain level. If you're not at a certain level, you know all the things I tell you guys about Kabbalah and Zohar and so on? How you're supposed to, even the Chachamim, the Vilna Gaon, the Arizal, all of the giants themselves said you have to be a certain level of holiness to even touch these books. It's no different with Moreh Nevuchim. It's more different with guides. Why? Because if you're not at that level, instead of becoming closer to Hashem, as a result, you actually can become a kofar. You can actually become a kofar from reading that book. Why? It's confusing. It says things that if you're not well-rounded in the entire Torah, you're going to lose your right, you're going to lose left, you're going to lose gravity. You're not going to know what's happened. What just happened here? Why? Because you're going to get to certain places in Moreh Nevuchim, it's going to make you second-guess certain things, and maybe even lose your steam for continuing. You're not going to continue to get to where you're supposed to, or you're probably not going to understand what he's actually trying to imply, and so on and so forth. A lot of different things that it's not easy. It's not for the regular guy. And a matter of fact, it's not even for most Talmidei Chachamim. So, all of these people that say, no, he didn't believe in this. I had one guy tell me, oh no, Rambam, he said anyone that talks about shedim, about these demons and so on, doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't believe in that. First of all, it's not what he said. You're misquoting what he said. First of all, it's wrong. But he didn't like that. So what he actually said is that they don't exist in Israel. At the time, he was alive. They weren't there in Israel at the time he was alive. He didn't talk about anything about the exile, which is the vast majority of the world. Because the last time I checked, Israel is like a little pinpoint in the rest of the world map. And second of all, we're not at 900 years ago. We are now. So, again, people take one little line, they make it as if they heard the whole lecture. They take one little word, they make it as if they read the whole series. Forget the book, the whole series. And they can start writing articles. And many times you see people put the chariot in front of the horse, and they don't know what right is, they don't know what left is. And a pasuk omer, "Vayiftach Hashem et pi ha'aton," and Hashem opened the mouth of the donkey. Who's donkey? Bilam's. Because the guy, instead of saying divrei Torah, he's a donkey. He doesn't know what is he saying. He's saying shtuyot, saying nonsense. So, these are certain things you have to stay away from. Don't summarize things. There's no Torah for dummies. There's no shortcut. There's no short version. Torah is to toil with. So, for all of those people that are trying to cut it, what they're doing in essence is exactly what the Greeks tried to do. The Greeks tried to get Am Yisrael to cut little things, little pieces. Cut one page here, one page there, one page here, one page there. Little by little, you stop believing everything. So that's one of the things that we learn in this holiday, is that in Judaism, every little thing is important. Everything. Your Netilat Yadayim is important. Your Tefillin is important. Your Shema Yisrael is important. Your bracha before you eat is important. Your bracha after you eat is important. Your bracha before you drink is important. Your bracha after you drink is important. The kosher is important. The level of kosher is important. Your rabbi is important. Your other rabbi is important. Your doctor is important. Your kid's teacher is... Everything is important. Everything. Everything has significance. Everything. If you're a person that walks around thinking that there is a certain part of the world that has significance, and we'll call that the Torah, and a certain part of the world that's up to you, it doesn't really carry much significance, your job, your relationship with friends, and so on, you, my friend, are a lost cause. Because you're thinking in a level of kfirah. You're thinking in a level of heresy, where you're thinking there's something outside of God. You're thinking that there's something that's separate from God. God is everywhere. And the Gemara says, a person that does not have Yirat Shamayim, you're not allowed to be inside a room, a closed room with him, by himself. Why? He may kill you. He may kill you. That's what the Gemara says. He may kill you. Why is it a kid? My friend. I know him since 3rd grade. He may kill you. Why? He thinks he's God. If he's not afraid of God, he thinks he's God. The minute you look at him funny, the minute you say something funny, he's going to kill you. That's what it says. You're not allowed to be in a closed room with him if he doesn't have Yirat Shamayim. So, when people think that there's something separate from God, in essence, what they've turned into God in that place. So, the Greeks wanted to separate us. They wanted to separate us from God. They wanted to separate us from the truth. And unfortunately, their poison is still working till this day. It's still working to this day. You guys have any more questions, or should I continue? You usually have questions. Everybody? Yeah. Anything?
Why, speaking of the Zohar, why is it that the book was only discovered after Rambam and the Rambam's time? Why was it like, why did it vanish and then just...
No, it was discovered at the time he was alive, but he didn't have enough time to go over all of it. And he said himself that had he had the book for a longer period of time, he would have changed certain things in his own writings. There are certain opinions about certain parts of the Zohar. There's debates about it by the Chachamim, but it's accepted as a holy book, to such an extent that they call it Zohar Kadosh. Not everyone should read it. Quite frankly, most people should not. But that simple statement of saying most people should not makes everyone want to read it. And the reason why people want to read it is not because they're actually aware of what's in it, it's the fact that it sounds more enticing. There's a pasuk says, Maim gnuvim imtaku. Stolen water are sweeter. I tell you, have tractate after tractate of Gemara with holiness, with kedusha, with a mystical, with basic, with things you understand, with things you don't understand, with things that are beyond your understanding, and so on and so forth. You have it in the Gemara, very simple, and you're allowed to study it as much as you want. No, it's too... Nafalta ali kaved, it's too much for me, son. Give me something, mamash, give me I want Mashiach right away. I want the angels to come down to my room, talk to me, teach me, like the Gaon Mivina. You had to convince them to go away. Go away, I don't want to learn. Why? No one want to teach you Torah. Angels came to him, said, I want to teach you Torah. He said, no, I want to toil for my Torah. I want to work hard for my Torah. I don't want you guys to teach me Torah. So people said, no, Gemara is not going to get you angels. Give me something else. Okay, Mishnah. Mishnah is before the Gemara, 2,500 years ago. No, come on, no. Something else. You have 5 books of Moses. 5 books. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote it. Prophet of all prophets. No, come on, it's old news. It's old news. I studied it when I was in 3rd grade. I already know the Chumash. 3rd grade I studied. Yeah, but you're 47. You haven't read it in 50 years. You're in 3rd grade. No, give me something else. Give me something else. I need something to really make me extra holy. Make me mekubal in a week. Make me mekubal in a week. So they want the Zohar. The reality is that it's something that most should not touch. There are some midrashim that we use from the Zohar, but the deeper Kabbalistic aspects of the Zohar are not for people to touch. Number 1, because it'll confuse them. Number 2, because they won't understand it. Number 3, they can create serious problems in their life. Serious problems in their life. There's certain parts of the Zohar that have names of angels, and if you mention those angels' names, they're not nice and joking around guys like me. What they are is angels. And if you say their name and you're not a pure person, they could torture you. They create some serious havoc in your life because you don't have the merit. Exactly what I said. You don't have the merit to say their name. And anyone who doesn't want to believe it, go to Har Nof in Yerushalayim. There's a whole hospital for crazy people. Specifically, there's a section, I'm not serious. Specifically, there's a section for crazy people, people that went nuts after learning the Zohar when they were not supposed to. It was right across the street from where Rabbi Ephraim used to live. I saw it. So, people think these are all jokes, exaggerations. You want to study it? Go, be my guest. I don't care. It doesn't affect my brain. Good luck to you. It's not going to make you more religious. That's for sure. It's not going to make you more religious. What's going to make you more religious is basics. What's going to make you closer to Hashem is basics. So, Hanukah, in chapter 5 of this book, it says that Hanukah means that it's both the inauguration of something and also training for the future. Inauguration. This is obviously we're self-explanatory, but the training for something new, training for the future means for this continuous war that we have against the Greek mentality. Now, all right, notes here, sounds interesting. Now we went over all of this, right? So, the mentality that's constantly looking for shortcuts, the mentality that's constantly looking for the way to go to get to the prize, is mamash a mentality that's anti-Torah. When people hear about the stories of the tzaddikim, they hear about the after effect. They hear about the blessings they gave that came true. They hear about the major things that happened, but they don't hear about the toiling of Torah that these people did. Like for example, Reuven, when he was just 9 years old, he had no interest in anything else but Torah. At 9 years old, and no interest in anything other than Torah. His father said, "Come with me to Baghdad. We're going to go," you had to do some work and so on. And they went to Baghdad for a while. And little Ovadia had no interest in working in the store with his Abba. What he do? He said, "Abba, can I go to the yeshiva with everyone's old there. Can I go to yeshiva over there?" Go, no, you're not doing anything here anyway, go. And he goes to the yeshiva. And the Gdolei Ador of Baghdad were in there, learning. Learning. And little Vadya, little 9-year-old, sitting there learning his book. Nobody knows who's this 9-year-old. It's cute, it's nice. Instead of playing with a ball outside like a cat, he's learning, Baruch Hashem. Good. Learning, a little 9-year-old's learning over there on a table. They continue to learn, and they're learning out loud. No, it's right, but Tosfot says, but argue, and they go back and forth on a sugya, on a complication. All of a sudden, little 9-year-old Ovadia says, excuse me, you're not understanding the Tosfot correctly. Excuse me? Chutzpan? They said chutzpan? But the Gdol Ador, the giant, said, hey, let's hear him out. Don't say chutzpan. Tell us, son, why don't we understand it right? Because in the Gemara, over here, and everyone's shocked. What just happened here? Mashiach arrived, what happened? These are old men. Talmidei Chachamim. 9-year-old knows more than all of them. He said, okay. The big Rav says to him, listen, how much do you know? No, I just know this Mishnah, that's all I know. I don't know much. What else do you know other than this Mishnah? No, nothing. I don't know nothing else. Just this Mishnah, you know. I don't know anything else. I don't know. You already learned the Mishnah that says you're not supposed to say how much you know. Because what other Mishnah do you know? I know a little bit of this other Mishnah. Which Mishnah? What else do you know? No, nothing else. I don't know anything else. 9-year-old. I don't know anything else. I don't know nothing else. What else do you know, son? Okay, I know a little bit of this other Mishnah also, and this other Gemara, and this other this, and this little 9-year-old knows more than everyone. And for the entire summer, the whole time he was there for a whole summer, or maybe a summer and a half, something like that, he became the teacher. No day, no night, no playing with the ball like a cat. He's learning. You hear about those stories? No, you heard about the miracles. He said this, Kabbalah. That's what people don't know. Rav Galinsky, Alav Shalom, was a giant in a 5-foot body. Less, maybe 4'5". Tiny little man. There's actually some lectures on the internet. Tiny. Mama, he stands, every time he gives a lecture, he stands on top of the table because he's so small. Tiny. If you read his story, his life story, you're probably going to cry on at least every other page. You're going to cry. Why? You're going to say, Chatanu avinu pashanu. Look what he's doing, what he's willing to do for Hashem, and I'm not even barely reading it. He went to Gehenom in this world. In this world. But he had the mentality of Novardok. Novardok was from the teachings of Rabbi Israel Misalant. Original teacher Rabbi Israel Misalant. His student was Saba Minovardok. Who is Saba Minovardok? In English, I think they say altar from Novardok. But Saba Minovardok is like the grandfather from Novardok. Who is Saba Minovardok? Saba Minovardok was a very, very well-to-do businessman. One day he's on a train, and Rabbi Israel Misalant is on a train. They're sitting on the train. They start talking. Rabbi Israel says to him, "What do you do? What do you do with your life?" He goes, "No, I just have a business, and I have another business, and I have this, and that, and I have a wood business." He was in wood. He goes, "Okay, fine, but what do you do in life? What do you do for your life, for your living? What do you do for your living?" "No, I just told you I have a business and a wood and a tree." No. What do you do for the life, for real life? For eternity, what are you doing? Nothing. He gave him he just met this guy. He gave him a rebuke of his life that the Saba Minovardok, businessman, knew nothing. Stopped at the next stop, got off the train, got back on the next train to go back home. Instead of going to this big business trip to do this, he went back home. sold all of his businesses, everything, liquidated everything, got all the money, started opening yeshivot. Started opening yeshivot, learned the rest of his life, and they say that all of the yeshivot today in the Western world come from him. Had some source, some connection to him. So Rav Galinsky is one of the students. Now, if you read the stories of what they went through for the sake of Torah, the sacrifices they were willing to make, today, in today's age, it's almost like inappropriate to talk about it. It's to that extent. It's just, people are just not willing to get up out of their house to come to a lecture, let alone to not eat for a few days. You tell people, come to a lecture. Oh, what time is it? 7:15. It's a little early. It's too late. How long is it going to be? Don't talk for so long. You what? It's 2 hours? 3 hours? No. 15 minutes. It's 2 hours to get here. You want me to talk for 15 minutes? We give you limitations. So you tell people, listen, for the Torah, Rav Galinsky would skip eating. I'm not talking about skip a meal. Skip eating for days. And he became a giant. Any opportunity he had, he would sanctify Hashem's name. Any opportunity he had, he would teach Torah. But the one main thing about Rav Galinsky is that he ran away from honor. But people would give him honor constantly. So he knew what kind of poison honor is. He knew that's the Greek mentality, to want credit for yourself. You're smart, you're good looking, you're powerful, you're rich, you're funny. Any type of compliment that you are going to take for yourself, that's not going to help you become holy. So if Galinsky ran away from it like it was poison. So one day he's given a lecture, and they start saying, Rav, Akadosh, Akadah, well, the compliments this. What does he do? He starts acting like he's crazy. He takes the microphone, starts saying, hello? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay, so I'll start the shiur now. And he starts putting the microphone to his ear to make it like as if he's old and senile. He doesn't know, like all these descriptions they gave him are completely not him. Completely not him. And he would do this regularly, anytime somebody would give him honor. Mamash, to such an extent where he detested honor like poison. But one time somebody asked him, Kvod Harav, tell me something. Tell me something about one of your stories. Here you Gdol Ador, you this, that. He goes, tell me something about Bnei Brak. Tell me something about Bnei Brak. He says, well, in Bnei Brak, I found out I'm Gdol Ador. Rav Galinsky just said, I'm Gdol Ador, finally! I heard this right. Kvod Harav. Why Bnei Brak you found that you're Gdol Ador? Because, one time I was waiting, I was going to give a shiur. I was waiting on the bus stop. And, I was sitting on the bus stop and it was windy. My hat fell. My hat fell on the floor. And I grabbed to get the hat, and a couple of doves flew over me. Apparently they had some chulent right before they saw me. And they emptied it out all on my head. On my bald head. That's how they emptied it out. So the student says, explain again, sir? Kvod Harav? He goes, no, why? You don't know. In the Gemara, Masechet Sukkah, it says, Yonatan ben Uziel, Kodesh Kodeshim, he would study to such an extent it would create a fire that if a dove flew over him, it would go on fire. Me, they just go in their pants. He connected that to that. Learning Torah, but also learning Midot at the same time. Why? Run away from honor. Run away from this Gdol Ador. You're good a good speaker, you're good this, you're nothing. You're Eved Hashem. You're Eved Hashem, you'll be something good in your life. Eved Hashem. And that's the thing that's a constant battle. Why? Because we all have ego. All of us. I have this battle myself all the time. The truth is, you compare this life to the life that I spent a lot more time doing, it's a very different battle. In one life, every single person swears you're a Mashiach. In another life, every single person wants to kill you like one of the prophets. It's very different. In one life, you can't do anything wrong. You get paid for it anyway. In another life, no one wants to pay you. Even if you want to give it for free, you have to pay them. It's constant battle. You don't know what's right, it's wrong, it's this, it's that. It's not easy. One place, there's not enough room in the hall to fill up the people that want to come see you. In the other one, you have to beg people to come. It's a constant battle. It's a constant battle. That's what you have to decide. Are you Eved Hashem? Are you a servant of Hashem? Or yourself? If you're a servant of Hashem, it doesn't make a difference. They come, they don't come, they do, they don't do, they donate, they don't donate. None of that matters. Why? The fact that you're alive and you're able to at least try to be an Eved Hashem, that by itself is a miracle. That by itself was worth the whole balagan that happened on Hanukah. The whole thing that happened in Hanukkah, the war, and the people dying, and this, and that, and everything, and all that happened. 2,000 years of survival for you to live. For one day to be an Eved Hashem, it was worth it for Hashem, it was worth it for you. On the other hand, if you're not, if you're doing it for yourself, you're doing it because you're a good speaker. You're doing it because you want people to give you a high five. You're doing it because you want people to donate an extra few thousand to your personal account as well as the bank account and the other account and the other account and the other account and the donation, MUSSAR, this, that. You're doing it for the money. You're doing it for the honor. You're doing it for all of these other reasons. In essence, you're a servant of yourself, of your own ego, of your inner Esav. The Gemara says it was better you were never born at all. Forget the whole Hanukkah, happened, Mesirut Nefesh, wars, disasters. Forget about all that. It was better you were not born. It's a very, very small difference between the two mindsets. Because sometimes you're convinced you're doing right when everything you're doing is wrong. One time, someone came to one of the Admorim, and he says to him, I'm not sure of the name, so I'm just not going to mention the name, but it's a true story. Chas v'shalom, somebody says, oh, you mentioned the wrong name, nothing matters, everything is, Chil Shabbat, Avodah Zarah. Okay, I'm not going to mention the name, guys, fine. Don't kill me on this one. But it's a true story. I said it in a different lecture, but it's a good story. Someone came to one of the Admorim, says, Kvod Harav, I need some money for my daughter's wedding. Some money for my daughter's wedding. I don't have any money. Kvod Harav, no problem. Opens the thing, takes out $5, gives it to him. Thank you, Kvod Harav. Zak Baruch, gives him a blessing. Shakoach, you're going to succeed. Raise the rest of the money for the wedding. Fine. A couple of days later, he arrives, he says, Kvod Harav, I need money for the dress. My daughter refuses to get married unless she buys this ridiculously expensive dress for $5,000. He says, well, the wedding, you raised all the money? Yes, we raised all the money for the Rabbi. After you gave me the money, it was a blessing. I raised $20,000 for the money. Everything was great. So now you need what? I need $5,000 for the dress. I don't know what to do for the Rav. One second. He goes to the safe, he takes out $5,000, he gives it to him. $5,000, give. For the wedding, he gave him $5. For the dress, chutzpan asked for $5,000, he gave him $5,000. He leaves, he left. What if Talmidim sees this? His Gabbai sees this. Kvod Harav, no, Lamdeni, teach us, what just happened to you? $5 you give for the wedding, that's the ikal. The guy is a chutzpan enough, and his daughter is a bigger chutzpanit. Having the decency, she's asking for she didn't even have money for a wedding. You gave, Baruch Hashem, you gave him blessing, they raised money for a wedding. Now she has the audacity to ask for the most expensive dress there is. What kind of nerve is this? And you, Kvod Harav, are paying for it? Explain. You know how much money you could have used that money for the kollel. You could have used the money for the yeshiva. You could have used the money for the homeless people. You could have used the money for the people that are in shelters, hungry. You could have used the money for so many good things, Kvod Harav. Why did you choose to give it to this rude chutzpan for just a dress? And the Admor says to him, you know, you're right. I also thought about everything you said. I could have used the money for the kollel. I could have used the money for the yeshiva. I could have used the money for the homeless. I could have used the money for the hungry. I thought of the same thing you said. But you know what? I only thought about those excuses after this poor guy came to me and asked me to help him make a kala happy. After he asked me to fulfill a mitzvah of making a kala happy, all of a sudden, I have these ideas. Maybe I should give the money here. Maybe I should give the money there. Why didn't I have them before he came? And that, my son, it's called a mitzvah from the Satan. There's a mitzvah, but it's from the Satan. If it was a real mitzvah from Hashem, and I wanted to give it to the kollel, I wanted to give it to the yeshiva, I wanted to give it to the homeless, and I wanted to give it to the hungry, I would have thought about it before this poor guy came to me. But the fact that it came now, when I have another mitzvah in front of me, that means it's a mitzvah from the Satan. Sometimes you have a mitzvah you're excited to do, but something else comes along. All of a sudden, something else comes along. A different idea, a different this, a different that. Hey, how come you didn't think about it before? How come you didn't think about it before? All of a sudden, you want to do kiruv when it's time to learn Gemara. Why did you think about it before? All of a sudden, you want to go visit the local shelter when it's Shiur Torah. Why did you do it before? All of a sudden, you do all these other things when it's time to do the mitzvah you need to do. That's called the mitzvah from the Satan. And unfortunately, the Satan sends us on trips, sends us on different things, just like the Greeks. He gives us a ball. Hey, keep busy. Here's a ball, little kid. Yeah, you have a ball. Don't worry, your ball, cute. Go, play. Go play. You got the ball, right? You wanted a ball? Here's a ball. Here's 2 balls. Just don't do the mitzvah that you're supposed to do. Just don't do the tshuva you're supposed to do. The guy comes into a shiur, he eats this, he hears this, he hears this, he goes to the rabbi, no rabbi, he says chilul Shabbat, he says tarat mishpacha, he says modesty, he says this, he goes, listen, just give tzedakah, everything's okay. Tzedakah, really? Everything's good? I'll sign for you. I'll sign for you, just tell me, don't worry about it. Rabbi, it's good, tzedakah? It's good. How much? How much do you have? 9,000. Okay, 8,900. Down payment for this week. Why? Mitzvah from the Satan. Mitzvah from the Satan. All of a sudden you have an investment to make when it's time to give maaser. No, but for the Rab, I'm only investing this money so I have a bigger maaser to give next time. I'm only investing the maaser money not because I'm going to keep it. Chas v'shalom for the Rab. I'm going to keep it. No. I'm investing the maaser money in Bitcoin so you make more money for the Rab, so you can print more CDs. All of a sudden, when it comes to Shiurei Torah, no, for the Rab, listen, I was working at my business, selling jewelry, selling cars, selling houses, selling people, selling cats, selling balls, selling everything. I was doing it. No, not for me, chas v'shalom, Kvod Harav. I have enough. Look at my house. It's 9 floors. It's for you, Kvod Harav. I was working for you. So I give maaser. The extra money I'm going to give for kiruv, Kvod Harav. I'm going to give for kiruv. All of a sudden, everyone becomes a tzaddik at the wrong time. At the perfectly wrong time. Perfectly wrong time. That's a mitzvah from the Satan. And the mitzvah from the Satan sometimes will come to you during your learning. In fact, it'll come to you during your learning as often as you allow it. If you allow it daily, it'll come daily. Rabbi says, learn Gemara. What do you want? No, but there's a really good Sipuret Tzadikim over here. Let me read that for a little while, and then I'll get to the Gemara. You read 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30 pages. Great, Chazak Baruch. As soon as you open the Gemara, sleep. All the energy is gone. Rabbi says, learn about Tarat Mishpacha. You're a woman, you need to know about Tarat Mishpacha. Oh yeah, no, I'm going to read Tarat Mishpacha. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to watch this shiur 1 second. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to watch you. Your shiur. I'm going to watch you now for 2 hours, 3 hours, 9 hours shiur. I'm going to watch the shiur. And then I'm going to read the book you told me to read to be a woman that knows how to do with a husband. I'm going to watch your shiur, Kvod Rav. What, you don't want me to watch your shiur? You don't want to watch your shiur? Your 9 hours shiur, you did a 9 hours shiur, Kvod Rav. Somebody has to watch it. 9 hours shiur. Somebody has to watch it, Kvod Rav. But I didn't say watch the shiur. I said read the book for Tarat Mishpacha. Because you're a woman, you need to be an expert. Tarat Mishpacha. Shabbat. This, that. Satan's going to come to you and says, no, don't do those things. That's what you're supposed to do. Here's a ball. Go play. Here's a ball. Go play. Time to do shiur Torah. Time to do something. No. My friend is coming over. And, I need to help him out. I need to do kiruv, Kvod Rav. I need to help him out. So I'm pretending to watch the game with him. I'm pretending to watch the game with him. But he's watching the game, but I'm really getting ready that every time there's a commercial break, I'm going to give him Dvar Torah. All these little creative things, and Satan comes to you with the best excuses in history. He doesn't shortchange at all. He goes and he goes and he goes. And unfortunately, sometimes the mitzvah from the Satan is going to come from somebody with a beard. Sometimes the mitzvah from the Satan is going to come from a rabbi, a leader, and so on. And the Rav Hutner says, this is also part of the prophecies. You see in Parashat Bechukotai, Leviticus 26:17, it says, and those who hate you will subjugate you. Meaning that those who hate you will rise up from among you. Meaning, your own haters are also going to be your brothers. Your own haters, the ones that are actually mean bad for you, want bad for you, steer you the wrong way. Sometimes you're going to look at them and you say, oh, that's my leader. Yes, exactly that. The Gemara in Masechet Sotah, page 49, also Sanhedrin 97, talks about the end of days. Talks about how rebuke is going to be despised. Honesty, lost. Talmidei Chachamim Amitim, fewer. Chutzpah Tizgeh, the rudeness, immodest behavior will rise. All the things that are the opposite of what we're supposed to do. And it's not just talking about the average folks, it's talking about everyone. It says the leaders are going to do the opposite of what's in the interest of the people. People are supposed to do ABC, they're going to tell people, no, do XYZ. Why? But that's the opposite. Don't worry, that's fine, I'll sign off for you. It says don't drive on Shabbat. No, but you're driving to Beknesset. It says Shlom Bayit. No. You're just going away with the guys to vacation. It's Shlom your brother. It's a peace between you and your brother. You're going to some kever. You're going to some grave. Yeah, my wife doesn't agree. Don't worry. She'll agree when you come back with the holiness that you'll have. The holiness you'll have around you, she'll agree. Don't worry. It says pool boo. Yeah, but your wife is dying. If she has another kid, she's going to die. She's not a baby oven. There's a way, there's a system, you have to consider her health. You look at the Avot, they didn't have 900 kids. They had whatever Hashem allowed, whenever time and place allowed. Want to have kids? Shrecha. Make sure she wants it too. No, but it's poor book for the Rav. Poor book, fine. She also has to live too. She's more important than the baby that didn't appear. So a lot of people are trying to be extra tzaddikim at the wrong places on other people's accounts. Sometimes there's rabbis that are fakers. Somebody asked me today about mekubal. Can I have a mekubal? Because I have this other mekubal. They gave me the name. I'm not going to mention the name because it's just a waste of time. mention a name. Oh, what do you think about this Mikubal, this rabbi from this place in Brooklyn? Honestly, you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to do anything. Just look up, just type the name Google. Everyone, this guy's fake. This guy's a fraud. This guy's a liar. This guy stole money from me. This guy's this. This guy's this. And the reality is that even if all of it is Lashon Hara, even if all of it is fake, the Gemara says if people are saying it about you, part of it is true. Nothing is from nothing. Nothing is from nothing. If they're saying it about you, there's something that is you're nagua in. No one is going to invent a lie about you out of pure nothing. There has to be something. And Shamayim knows. Shamayim knows. So, sometimes the enemy is within. Sometimes the enemy is within. The biggest thing that the Greeks wanted to do is separate the physical and the spiritual to be two different things. Make sure that we focus on our physical aspect, muscles, looks, material, money, and so on, and let the spiritual aspect of it go somewhere else. And the Chachamim say this is exactly why the Rambam says in Ilchot Shabbat, chapter 30, Halacha 15, which we mentioned 2 or 3 weeks ago in the shiur in Hollywood, about how when a person's a Mechalel Shabbat Befarestia, person's regularly Mechalel Shabbat, is considered an idol worshiper. It's considered to be like one of the Greeks. Why? One of the Greeks is because he indeed separated his physical from his spiritual. He thought that his physical and spiritual can have different rules. Physical can, live in this world. Spiritual doesn't have to. You can put it on the side. So the physical is Jewish, because his father is Jewish. He comes from Avraham Avinu, he comes from Yitzchak Avinu, he comes from Yaakov Avinu, he comes from Moshe Rabbeinu, and so on and so forth. But spiritual, I don't have to keep the mitzvot. I don't have to keep it. They think that they're Jewish just because their mother is Jewish. And there's nothing further from the truth. Nothing further from the truth. What makes you Jewish is following the Torah. Went over this also. The biggest difference that we spoke about, but I think is something that you can never cover enough, that I think personally is a problem in the religious world, with all of these battles that we have with the different things we say about the wigs and so on, is that the enemy that creates the havoc is usually not a secular person. The enemy is usually a religious person. But it's a religious person that's selectively religious. He's religious when he wants. Whether it's this Dweck guy from London that's religious, until a certain point. Chas v'shalom, you're going to talk about homosexuals. No, they're allowed, they're in. They're tzaddikim, we shouldn't welcome them. It's the best thing that ever happened. All the type of garbage that he said. He now has the support of the chief rabbi over there in London. Who knows? Who knows what more damage this guy's going to make? But this guy's being allowed to be a rabbi, and there's plenty like him. This other guy that I keep telling you guys about with the long payas and looks like he's from the days of the Baal Shem Tov, but in reality is days of J.C. Penney maybe. He tells people that for Shlom Bayit you're allowed to drive on Shabbat to take your wife to the beach. So, all types of mitzvot that touch people's heart. It's like, oh wow, look, he's such a nice rabbi. He welcomes homosexuals. Oh wow, look, he's such a nice rabbi. He understands how important Shlom Bayit is. So when the wife says she wants to go to the beach on Shabbat, he says it's okay. See, that's a chacham. That's, wow, Chazak Baruch. For the naive, for the people that don't understand, sounds good. It sounds terrific. And it all stems from the same place. It all stems from the same Greek infection that we've had for 2,000 years. The Greeks did something that no one else did. They made us our own enemy. And we've been our own enemy for over 2,000 years since. Whether it's what the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, page 54, says that Hashem punished the rabbis first, before he punished the secular people. The Gemara asks why. It says because the rabbis knew the truth, but they didn't share it. They didn't tell people. They didn't rebuke them. It's as if they sinned. It's as if they murdered. It's as if they were violating Shabbat. You knew the truth. You saw your brother going against it, but you didn't say anything. You said, he's going to figure it out on his own. So many of these people that know the truth, that read the same Gemarot that we read, that learned the same Mishnayot that we read, that learned the same Halachot, learned the same Torah, know what it says, know what the Rambam says, know what Shulchan Aruch says, know what the Zohar says, know what the 5 books of Moses say, know what everything says. It's all the same exact thing. It all comes from the same source, comes from the Torah, same thing. It's just different places mention the same thing. They all know it, and they don't share it. Hashem Yitbarach says, these people are the worst. Why? They take on everyone's sin. They know the truth and they're not sharing it with people. Why? It's a Greek infection. It's the mentality where, you know what? Let's just cut, everything else is good that Hashem says. Let's just cut this one part out. It started with one thing. And then it's another thing. Then it's another thing. Before you know it, you've modernized Judaism, in essence, to change it altogether. You've changed it altogether into something else. Call it whatever you want. The labels are irrelevant. There's plenty of decent people in every part of Judaism. But as far as Eved Hashem, as far as servants of Hashem, we don't know how many there are anywhere. Why? Because unfortunately, every one of us has a problem. So the question all of us need to ask is, where do we lie? Where do we stand? Where do we stand here? Where are we? Are we fakers? Are we actually doing everything because that's what it says? Are we doing things that because it makes sense to us? Are we waiting for things to make sense to us? The Greeks told us accept Torah because it's intellectual, just don't accept Hashem. And to prove to us that you don't accept Hashem, write it on the windshield. Write it on the windshield of your cars. Write it on the horns of the bulls. Publicize that you don't accept Hashem. Go to public war with Hashem. That's fine. Women of the wall, show your power. Show it. Why not? The Reform, the Conservative, no different. Unfortunately, it's also happening in the Orthodox world. Modern, non-modern, whatever you want to call it. Where there are certain things, there's certain mitzvot that literally, it's as if they don't exist. People call themselves religious, and if you just simply look at them, you don't have to know you don't have to speak. You don't have to speak. Just look at the person. You're not even sure if they're Jewish. Why? They look like a Greek. They look 100% like a Greek. I remember there was more than one guy, but there's one particular guy that I always saw him in synagogue. Always saw him in synagogue. But, for whatever reason or another, he felt that it was perfectly fine to walk around with beach clothes all the time. A tank top that shows most of his body, and shorts, and slippers. Like he was, I don't know, apparently, maybe he works on the beach or something, he's a lifeguard, I don't know. He's a 40-year-old lifeguard, 50-year-old lifeguard, I don't know. Whatever career he chose. But the point is that it was always like this, all the time. There was no concept in his mind that the little quarter kippah that he had on once in a while is supposed to represent Yirat Shamayim. It's supposed to represent that you're afraid of what's above you, which means that you have to be concerned of how you look in front of what you're afraid of. There was no concept of that. The people that argue with us about the whole issue of Avodah Zarah being on the wigs, They're all pretending as if I created this out of thin air. Like I took Masechet Avodah Zarah and I wrote, Dear God, please add this tractate to your oral Torah, please. Signed, Yaron Reuven. Like I created this rule. Hashem says, if there's Avodah Zarah, you're not allowed to benefit from it. Not allowed. So someone sent me, one of my students, sent me a message today and said, listen, I'm moving, Baruch Hashem, doing Aliyah, going to Israel. There's this Israeli organization that's connecting me with different companies. And they told me that there's this Christian organization, there's a Christian organization, that's willing to pay for part of my expenses. And they don't proselytize. Innocent, tzaddikim. Tzaddikim, they don't, it's the only section of all of Christianity that doesn't proselytize, doesn't missionize. Tzaddikim. Am I allowed to use it? Absolutely not. Why? It's benefiting from Avodah Zarah. It's benefiting from Avodah Zarah. I have one guy that constantly asks me questions about how much to give, tzedakah, this, that, the other thing. I don't respond to him at all. Why? He is the Avodah Zarah, the guy. I don't have anything against Christians. I have something against what they do. There's plenty of very nice people. But when you are telling me that you're going to give me church money, I'm not interested in church money. Keep it for yourself. Thank you. No interest. Not allowed. I don't care how much money it is, how little, how much. It doesn't make a difference. Not allowed to benefit out of Avodah Zarah. So when you tell people, listen, it's market knowledge that before recent times, if you wanted to start a business, you had to go to wherever you wanted to do the business. If you wanted to start a business and the manufacturer was in China, manufacturer was in India, manufacturer was in London, manufacturer was in Bangladesh, manufacturer was in Taiwan, wherever they were, you had to go there. Negotiate, agree, give some money, sign on a agreement. They send you a container about 6 months later, because that's how long it takes the ship to get from wherever they are to where you are. And that's how you do business. You usually have to go to this place once in a while, and so on and so forth. But as technology advanced, today it's to such an extent, as we've talked about extensively, where all you need to do, you don't even need to pick up a phone anymore. All you need to do is type in a website, put in your credit card, and you could order whatever you want in the world. If you have enough money, you could order anything. A plane, weapons, wigs, whatever you want. People, anything you want. You could order anything you want with money and a computer. All you need. So, people pretend like they don't know anything. Pretend like they're naive. Pretend like, oh, we're all innocent, we're all this. And when I tell them, listen, it's market knowledge. It's not my theory. It's not a theory. It's market knowledge that all wigs have turned from being from Korea to different places in China to different places in around the world, that now officially it's all coming from the 95%, some people say 99%, are coming from India. Why? Because to get it from any other place is much more expensive. If you want to get your wigs from people that are selling it in Bolivia, in Cambodia, in Brazil, in any place in Europe, in wherever, you have to buy it for a much higher price. Why? Because no one is going to shave their head voluntarily. They'll do it for money. So naturally, a transaction is more expensive than a no transaction. When someone donates their hair for free, that's automatically cheaper than any other price. Now, in some countries, they won't even sell it for any other price. Like you go to Brazil, they'll laugh at you. Tell you, oh, shave my head, you shave your head. You chop off your head. Chop off your head. I'll put it on my canister with the food and the peppers for my food. They laughed at me when I told them, do Brazilians shave their head? Because many wigs today say made in Brazil. They laughed at me like, our people are going to rather kill themselves from starvation than shave their head. No wig is made in Brazil. It's a transitional process. They buy them from India. What people don't know is a few really smart businessmen, when the whole wig thing took off, they made a few deals with India, and they became one of the largest customers of India. And it all says made in Brazil, but it's not really made in Brazil. So you tell them, listen, the wigs, all of them come from India. Even if you have some hair that comes from a different place, some hair is going to come from India. And the reason why is because every wig is 3 heads. Every wig is not one head. It's not like one woman shaves a head and it goes into another woman's head. It doesn't work like that. It's 3 women shave head and go into one wig. So in essence, it also means that no single wig you even know where it came from. It could potentially be 3 different places. It could potentially be 500 places. So you tell people this is logic, this is common sense, this is market research, this is factual, and so on and so forth. You cannot rely on it. If it's real hair, you cannot rely on it. And even the Gedolei Hador says, even if it's synthetic, it's no longer synthetic. Why? Because in some places, like China, where they shave the head of the dead, which is also not allowed, by the way, according to Judaism. But according to them, they're allowed to do whatever they want. According to Judaism, they're not allowed to shave the head of the dead. In China, they shave the head of the dead. And they sell the hair. There's so much of this hair, because it's 1.5 billion people. There's so much hair, they don't know what to do with it, because it's short hair. No one's buying short hair wigs. So what do? They put the hair to fill in the synthetic wigs. They fill it in. So they did some research on synthetic wigs, and they said every one of these synthetic wigs has some real hair in it. Some have 1%, some have 3%, some have 9%, some have 50%, but all of them have something. Now you're going to call your wig maker, and you tell them, hey, Mrs. Local wig maker, do you have any synthetic wigs with only 100% synthetic and no real hair? Of course, it's kosher. What do you want? Well, of course. Why? Why? Because that's how they make money. Do they really know? No. Why? Because it wasn't made in their place. It was made somewhere else. Do you have any, kosher wigs that are 100% from real hair, but not from India? Sure, of course, kosher, gross. Rabbi Gross koshered it. It's badatz, it's this, it's that, it's the best. It's kosher. Moshe Rabbeinu signed off too. And they tell you whatever you want. Why? That's how they make money. Were you in the factory when they were chopping the head and this and that? You were there? No. But the market research, which is what was my expertise for 20 years, I don't know what else I need to explain. It's like you go to a guy, you sold diamond for 20 years, he tells you, listen, this is not a diamond, this is a rock, this is nothing, this is fake diamond they make now in Russia. They make fake diamonds out of nothing, and they sell them as real diamonds. Guy's been in the business, like my father, for 50 years. He says, listen, this is a fake diamond. No, you don't know what you're talking about. What, 50 years is not enough research? It's not enough expertise? So, you tell people. So now, what happens is, they don't like it. They start fighting. They start this, they start that. Because, they say, listen, it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. Cover your hair, it's a mitzvah. Little do they know, this mitzvah they have is mitzvah from the Satan. Yes, you're allowed, you're obviously obligated to cover your hair. Just not with the wig. Now, there's another chidush, we'll finalize, and then you guys could ask some questions. That's actually one of the sources of the wigs. Most people don't know. Is in the Gemara. Gemara Masechet Shabbat. There's a Mishnah, and it says the following. Yotza isha bechutei se'ar ben mishela ben mishel chaverta ben mishel be'ema ובתותפת ובסרביטין בזמן שאין תפורין ובחבול ובפאה נוכרית לחצר. In so many words, it says, a woman is talking about whether someone's allowed to go outside when there's no iruv. When there's no iruv, you're not allowed to carry. So it says a woman that has fake hair on top of her head, that's her hair, or not her hair, her friend's hair, like somebody else's, or the hair of an animal, or it's a wig. Wait a minute. Hair, hers, not hers, an animal, and then pea nochrit. Or a hat. What's going on? Wait, why is pea nochrit different from hair? First and foremost, we need to understand that this is a phenomenal Gemara. And the reason why is because this is the source that one of the people that the Shiltei HaGiborim used this as a source to allow women to use wigs, original source to allow women to use wigs, but everyone disagrees with him. And the Be'er Sheva wrote a whole section about why he's completely wrong about it. But first and foremost, this is the source here, Gemara Masechet Shabbat, page 64b. Now, what's very interesting is that if you break up this Gemara into a couple of pieces, you start understanding it. First and foremost, it's telling you something extraordinary. That there's a different levels of hair. First, the hair, if it's hers, or if it's her friend's, or if it's a animal's hair, and so on, it says it's allowed. Why is it allowed? Why is it allowed to carry in their head? Why? Because the fear would be if she took it off. The fear, like for example, to wear certain things. For example, a pin. You're not allowed to wear a pin. Why are you not allowed to wear a pin? Maybe you're going to take it off and carry it. So the fear of not wearing hair that's yours is maybe you're going to take it off and carry it. So the Gemara asks, who wears this? Who wears this hair? That's theirs, not hairs. First and foremost, you should know, it's not the average person. Who is it? Someone has bald spots. Someone that's sick. Someone that's sick. It's not for someone that's sick. Shem Achem, they have cancer, they have this, they have that. Someone that's sick. It's not someone that's an everyday person. That's first of all. Second of all, why are we not worried, even if they're sick? Why are we not worried they're not going to take it off? Why are we not worried they're not going to take it off? Why? Because Rashi says the hair is sewn to the hat. The hair is sewn to the hat because there's no way that a woman is allowed to show a naked head. So, of course, she's not going to take off the hair, because if she takes off the hair, she's also going to be forced to take off the hat. And if she takes off the hat, she shows her head. Shows her head, it's Isur Deoraita. Not allowed. Not allowed. Which means that even the people that use this fake hair in the Gemara, the source, they were not just going out like today's women showing hair. They wore this hair to cover a small or a big bald patch under a hat. It was always under a hat. It was always under some type of kisurosh. There was no somebody walking around with the wig, like a little horse tail on their head. Never in the history of Am Yisrael has this ever happened. Until now. Never. So, this is, if you understand the original source. But how many women today that are wearing wigs know this Gemara? How many? What is it? They ask their rabbi, Rabbi, am I allowed to wear a wig? Yes. Okay, wear the wig. Baruch, Tzaddik, Yesod Olam. They start singing for the rabbi, Gdol Ador, Kadosh, Kabbalist, Mekubal. What? He allows wigs. You want to be Mekubal? Allow wigs. You want to be Tzaddik? Allow wigs. So that's one main thing. Another chidush about this specific one is that it says, Bechavul u'be'ah nochrit. Chavul is a hat. It's like a hat. And it says a hat with a wig. What's a hat with a wig? If you actually see, you notice, the two go together. It's not bechavul or pe'anochi. It's not a hat or a wig. It says a hat and a wig, meaning they go together. They go together. It's not the wig is separate, the hat is separate. So, if you just simply go to the source, you simply understand that this was ma'us, like despised in the eyes of Hashem. One of the reasons, it says the following. This is mamash a Gemara meforesh. It's not my opinion. Don't blame me. Go blame God if you want. But you may not be so nice. Listen. Tana. ובלבד שלא תצא ילדה בשל זקנה וזקנה בשל ילדה. He says, why is this wearing strands of hair in the head? What's the problem with it? If there's a problem, what's the problem with it? Why can't you just say yes, no? Like, why is it even mentioned? Why is it mentioned? Where, nowhere? What's the problem? He says, Chas v'shalom. An old woman would wear the hair of a young woman and look like a young woman, and a young woman wear the hair of an old woman, look like an old woman. Is there anyone in the world today wearing a wig of someone that's not younger than them? Whether she's 70 years old with the wig, or 60 years old, or 30 years old, it's always, they just got it from a 16-year-old kid in India that shaved their head. So, this, mamash, the Gemara specifically said, why is there, it was even mentioned bichlal? It's mentioned because the biggest prohibition of it is that an older woman will wear the hair of a younger woman. Why? Because it'll enhance her looks. And that's prohibited. It's not supposed to improve their looks. This is Gemara. It's Gemara. It's Mama. This is Gemara what it says. You skipped the part. The rabbi skipped the part. The rabbi skipped the part. So, this is, again, this is the reason why Rav Ovadia and over 117 poskim said it's not allowed. It had nothing to do with avodah zarah. Nothing to do with avodah zarah. Nothing to do with idol worship. The idol worship, every single rabbi in the world would not allow it. Every single one, except one. There's only one rabbi that allows it. Who? The one that runs the kosher wig section. Why? He doesn't believe he doesn't believe it matters. It's like, no, they don't mean it. They don't mean it. It's fine. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't wear it. When Rav Eliashiv came out and says, listen, these wigs coming from avodah zarah are not allowed, go burn them. Thousands and thousands of women started burning their wigs. Everyone was much havoc. In 2004, you read about it in the papers, some of the archives. Unbelievable what was happening in Jerusalem, in New York, everywhere. Hat stores were much being sold out in seconds. No one knew what to do. The Gedol Hador just said you're not allowed to wear any wig. But then this guy that no one really knew says, no, don't worry, we're going to make a kosher wig. We're going to go make a kosher wig. And he became, little by little, a new Gedol Hador all of a sudden. And everyone holds by him. No one else, no other kosher certification company, no other rabbi in the world ever dared, even the ones that agree with wigs, no one dared kosher the wigs. Why? Because everyone knew it was horse poop. Everyone knew it was nonsense. It was complete nonsense. Even he himself. Why? He wrote it himself. Even at the time that Rav Eliashiv came out and said it's all avodah zarah because it's from India, because of this, because of that, he's quoted himself saying, even if it comes from India, it's still fine. Why? It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I disagree with Rav Eliashiv. Why? There's no actual real principle behind it that's valid, that anyone agreed with him. In essence, he doesn't believe that the wig needs to be koshered anyway. So what are you koshering then? If you don't believe it needs to be koshered, what are you koshering then? It's like someone that believes that all meat is kosher. You don't have to slaughter it a certain way. It doesn't have to be a certain type of animal. It could be a camel. It could be a calf. It could be a bat. It could be a lion. It could be a horse. All okay. It's all okay. Aleinu alarasi. Whatever you want. It's good. It's kosher. But that's. We'll put a sticker on it. Put kosher. It's kosher. Doesn't believe in it. Then you can put this guy's mashgiach. He doesn't believe in it. You can't put him as mashgiach. This is a joke. This is the biggest mamash mitzvah from a satan in this generation, in my opinion. Why? Because it's destroying the religious world. It's destroying the religious world, and people just simply are running away from it. They're just running away from it. They refuse to believe it. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of asonot. A lot of disasters happening recently. People are dying, people are getting sick, major accidents. It seems like, I don't know, every time there's new organization to raise money for poor people that are having, trying to raise money, there's more people that are having more asonot, more problems. It's unbelievable. Every day there's a new list of another family that's damaged. Somebody died, somebody this, somebody that. Hashem. So people are asking, where's Hashem? Where's Hashem? Where is he right now? Where is he? Where is the Holocaust again? Aster Panaya. He's hiding his face. Where is he? The Chafetz Chaim Alav Shalom says, many women pray to Hashem. Bnot Yisrael are praying to Hashem. No question about it, they're praying to Hashem. But why aren't their prayers being listened to? It says, because kol Aisha irva. The entire woman is considered nakedness. So when a woman comes to Hashem with a wig, it's considered nakedness. When a woman comes to Hashem with uncovered hair, it's the same thing as a wig. Now that we know it's Avodah Zarah, it's even worse. She cannot expect Hashem to listen to her prayer. Why? She's naked. She's naked. How could Hashem listen to such a prayer? So, it's not me. It's the Chafetz Chaim. Go blame him. Go. Enjoy. The idea here is that everybody has to do tshuva. Everyone has to question themselves. Where am I? Where is this? And the reason why is because this Greek mentality of being more material, more this, more that, it's ruining us. It's ruining the religious world. It's ruining the secular world. It's ruining everything. It's time that we actually start taking control. Okay, you know what? It's hard for me, but I know it's true. This is difficult, but I know I need to do it. This is that, but I need to do stuff. Start doing tshuva. Start addressing the problem. Because Hanukah is that reminder that if it wasn't for a few that stood up for the truth, very few that stood up for the truth, the rest of us wouldn't be here. Just a few. It doesn't need to be everyone. Just a few stand up for the truth, the rest of us wouldn't be here. That's what Hanukkah is about. Sometimes standing up for the truth means you have to do something that's beyond norm. You have to declare war against everyone. You have to declare war against the system. You have to declare war against what's considered normal. You have to declare war against what's considered acceptable. Why? Because you know that everyone is missing the same thing. What? The truth. What's acceptable is poison. What's acceptable is not good. What's acceptable is bad for everyone. They just fail to realize it. Either because the Satan convinced them it's a mitzvah, or they're just not looking. They're relying on somebody else. Everyone thinks that somebody else looked. Everyone's relying on someone else looking. Go look. You look. Did you look? Yeah, I looked. Did you look? He didn't really look. Somebody else looked for him. You look? I looked. Look. No one really looked. And the guy that's originally the guy that's officially supposed to look, you look? No. You look? No. You look? Look. Everybody says no. Everyone's relying on someone else. The original guy that was supposed to look for everyone pretty much, what is he doing? He's playing with the ball, with the cat. Him and the cat are playing with the ball. They're playing catch with the ball. No? Give me questions.
As someone who pull people away from believing in Jesus, what happens to him if he doesn't do tshuva?
A goy that believes in JCPenney?
Well, a boy that's pulling other people away from JCPenney, who actually believes in the God of Israel, so he says.
Wait, he's pulling people away
From JCPenney.
from Avodah Zarah?
Proving people that JCPenney is
Nonsense. Okay, where is he pulling them to?
toward Judaism.
Okay, that's a good thing.
But he himself is not taking the steps to become a Jew.
But does he believe in JC?
No.
No. So he's just a goy. So he's a okay, that's fine. If someone is pulling people away from Avodah Zarah, that's a major mitzvah. He's in essence saving lives, saving souls. That's very good. If he chooses to be a Jew, it's obviously putting his soul on an even higher level. If he doesn't, he still has Olam Haba, because if I'm assuming that if he believes in Judaism, he's at the very least following the 7 Noahide laws. If he's following 7 Noahide laws and all rational laws that are in the Torah, it's fine, he has Olam Haba. It's not the same level of Olam Haba as he would have if he was a righteous Jew, but he's perfectly fine. As long as he doesn't believe in idol worship. As long as he doesn't violate the Avodah Zarah rules, as long as he doesn't violate the Torah as far as the 7 Noahide laws, he's fine. And if he's saving other neshamot, it's even more so. Even more so. It's a very unusual thing that we're seeing right now, is that it seems like there are many goyim that are very, very interested in helping Jews. And I'm seeing it firsthand, not just one, not two, not three, not five, not 10. Many, many situations. Just today, actually, you know what? Shtabach Shemo. Just today, I had a guy who's not Jewish. He wants to convert one day, just life hasn't worked out so far for him to convert. But he's very passionate about Kiruv, he's very passionate about Torah, and so on. And he's actually on a army base. He just got restationed in a new army base. And he told me, listen, I got restationed in a new army base, and I see there's a bunch of Jews here. Can you send me a few things? Baruch Hashem, there's Jews. I packed up a box of CDs and some Yasher Yatzar, and Bezrat Hashem, Naseh v'Natzliach. I sent him some CDs. So this guy is very, very active. He doesn't have much money. He doesn't have much talent per se that's useful for Kiruv, but Hashem is putting him in places for him to implement this passion that he has. He has a passion to save other Jews. Hashem says, I don't need your money. I don't need your skill set that you don't have. What do you have? I'll put you in the right place for you to meet a few Jews. Just give them the CD. And you get Olam Haba. So I'm seeing it a lot. Baruch Hashem, I had one time a guy donate. A guy donated a pair of tefillin. He said, listen, I'll give some money, use his money to get somebody a pair of tefillin. The same day he wanted to donate money, I had a guy call me. He said, listen, I want to get tefillin, I don't have any money though. So Hashem makes the matches, and sometimes it comes from Goyim, sometimes it comes from Jews. But it's amazing. I mean, I can tell you from experience that sometimes you'll see that some of the non-Jews are much, much more passionate about Kiruv than Jews are. And one of the reasons, at least I'm guessing, I don't know this for sure, but one of the reasons why I think it is simply because the Goyim don't have a Yetzirah. The Goyim don't have a Yetzirah against Kiruv like a Jew does. So a Jew, for him to save one other Jew, there's an endless amount of reward for him. It's a 310 worlds in Olam Haba, and it's a big thing. And it's also one of his obligations in the world as far as Gemilut Chasadim. There's a big reward for it. A non-Jew also gets a reward, but it's nothing in comparison. The Jew gets a reward, the non-Jew gets a reward. But if the Jew doesn't do it, he gets punished. If the non-Jew doesn't do it, it's fine, no big deal, nothing. It's like there was a sandwich, you didn't eat it, okay, good luck. You didn't eat it. You're not obligated to eat it. The Jew is obligated to eat it. He's obligated to do kiruv. He's obligated to save other people. Why? Everyone in Israel is obligated to save each other. We're responsible for each other. You can't just sit there and take care of yourself and not care about anybody else. So that's the thing that people just, I'm seeing a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of people that are not Jewish but are extremely passionate about saving Jews. And they themselves want to convert, but apparently Hashem wants them to show how much they love Am Yisrael first. Again, apparently maybe this is their Akedat Yitzchak. This is their sacrifice. And I'm sure that Hashem is going to reward them endlessly for it. Next.
Someone has a parent that's not Jewish. Let's say the parent is involved with JC or some other belief that enters upon Avodah Zarah.
Yeah.
If they're sick, are you allowed to say with washing them before Shir Torah? Or if you're praying, or you're allowed to pray for them to get well, or you're supposed to pray for them to become righteous? Which one is the best way?
You pray for both. If a non-Jew dies, according to Halacha, you're allowed to say Kaddish on them. Even though it's a non-Jew, you're still allowed to say Kaddish on them. There are opinions that you're allowed to say Kaddish, but it doesn't do anything. But it's still allowed. And there are opinions that say you're allowed to do it, and it does do something. It helps them. Either way, I don't know of an opinion that says you're not allowed to say it. I know that you're allowed to say Kaddish. If you're allowed to say Kaddish, which is it's the highest level of prayer to Hashem, then obviously you're allowed to also say Refuah Shlema to different people. What's the raya also? There was a Mubarak from Egypt. Wasn't exactly the biggest supporter of Israel. He didn't like us so much. But we had peace with him for a long time. Not because he liked us. What happened? He respected the Chachamim. And one time, he wanted to build a road in Egypt. And the road was going to go over a cemetery which had a very big tzaddik there. And Rav Ovadia called him, before he became the famous Rav Ovadia, but he was still well known. And Rav Ovadia called him and he says, please don't do it. There's a big tzaddik there, we can't dishonor the Chachamim. And Mubarak says, listen, it's going to cost millions of dollars to do the plans all over again, to go around this whole grave, this, that. It's an enormous amount of money. It's a highway. It's not like a flag. It's an enormous amount of money to redo the thing. Ovadia says, I'll raise it. How much is it? He says, $2 million, let's say. I'll raise the money for you. I'll get the money. You get the money, no problem. Ovadia, after he agreed, he gave him a blessing. And the blessing is for him to have arichut yamim, to have long days of success, long days in life, and so on. And we see that it actually came true. He was a leader for like 40 years, which is unheard of in the Arab world. 40 days you're already Muhammad. 40 years, it's unheard of. And it was peace also between us and them. But then the Arabs went back to being Arabs. They wanted to kill him. They arrested him and this and that and everything happened. And Rav Ovadia went out there and says, pray for him. He prayed for him. And mamash through miracle, Akarat Tov, for what he did, he redesigned everything. Akarat Tov as returning the favor, he prayed for him. And mamash through miracle, they released him from prison and everything was fine. Which is unheard of in the Arab world. Once you're in prison, you don't come out. Like these billionaires that the new prince of Saudi Arabia arrested, they're never leaving. They're never leaving the prison. They may leave as homeless people, if they leave at all, but most likely they're not leaving alive. They're leaving as bodies. That's just the way it is. So it shows that obviously it's not necessarily we're not supposed to pray for people to die unless they're mesitim. Unless there are people that actively search out Jews and try to bring them away from Hashem. Not if they just believe in something wrong or idol worship or whatever it is, but if they actively go after Jews. If they actively go after Jews, then you can pray for them to die. Because this is such a person that's a mesit, that's a mean, that's someone that's it's considered worse than a murderer. And that person can be Jewish or not Jewish. So, if a person has a non-Jewish parent, if it's a convert, I'm assuming, obviously, non-Jewish parent, well, most of the time it's a convert, because if the father is not Jewish and the mother is Jewish, then it's still technically a Jew based on halacha. If one of the parents is not Jewish, you're still allowed to pray for them to have refuah shlema, but at the same time, you should also always pray for them to see the truth, to do tshuva, to leave this idolatry that they have, try to help them one way or another, give them a CD, send a CD anonymously, whatever, try to do something to help them. That's the biggest favor you could ever do for them as a son or a daughter, is to get them to stop being an idol worshiper. But it's not easy. It's not easy. So your merits as a righteous person will definitely help them. Definitely help them. Next. Anyone? Yeah.
Can they cohabitate? Can they eat together, especially for Shabbat and things like that. How does that work? Is it even allowed, or what can be done?
It's a very good question. Can a Jew live with a non-Jew, in essence, if the non-Jew is his parent or her parent? Now, this is a very tricky question. And the reason why it's a very tricky question is because some people are not going to like the answer, because the answers will touch your emotions. And again, you have to understand that halacha is not based on emotions. Halacha is based on the law of God, which sometimes is not going to make sense to you because you're a human being. So based on halacha, once a person converts from being something else, from being an Arab, from being a Christian, from being a Buddhist, from being whatever, into being a Jew, they're no longer considered the son or daughter of their biological parents. Their biological parents, obviously Hashem knows they came from that body, but as far as them being their parent, they're not considered their parents. This changes this answers the question in so many words. Because is a Jewish man allowed to live with a woman that's not his wife? No. Is a Jewish man allowed to live with a woman that's not his wife and she's not Jewish? No. Yeah, but it's his mother. No, it's not. Instead, so that's the tricky issue. Now, if a person gets older or sick, are you allowed to take care of them? Yes, there are certain leniencies when it comes to certain things like that. You have to go to a Rav, you have to look really, really deep into the halacha and to make sure that you're following all of the different rules that you need to follow. But as a rule of thumb, your mom is perfectly healthy, your dad's perfectly healthy, and are you allowed to live with them? No. So now I'll give you an example. There was actually someone that came to one of my shulim, and she converted. She converted to Judaism, righteous convert, and she told me, I'm very scared because ever since I converted, I've been having these strange dreams, these strange spiritual experiences, which are part of the Shiur about Genom. They're a horrible, horrible situation. Horrible. She sees things when she's awake. She sees things when she's asleep. She sees things when they're this. It's like one of these horror stories. And she says, I went to a rabbi, I went to a Kabbalist, I went to this, I went to that, I read this book, I read that book. Nothing changes. It's years, 4 years, I have this thing. 4 years. Not like 4 months, 4 days, 4 hours. 4 years, I have this thing. Now, I'm not a Kabbalist. I'm not a Mekubal. I'm not anything. But I have a little common sense, and I learned a little Torah from my Rav. And this is not the first time I heard this thing. So anyway, so I told her, wait, so where do you live? And she says, I live in so-and-so. I says, where do your parents live? She says, well, they live in the same place. I said, what do you mean? You live in a different house? No, we live in the same house. My original biological dad is not there. The mom remarried to another guy, and so on and so forth. And they're idol worshippers, especially the new father, the new husband is an idol worshipper, like an idol worshipper with a degree. And the mom is like agnostic; she cares less about everything. And there's a little righteous Jewish girl. I said, okay, there you go. That's it. That's your avodah zarah. That's what's creating all those spirits and things and this and that. I was going, that's it. So yeah, that's it. Just why didn't all the other rabbis say the mukubalim, the mekupalim, the this one, the that one, the folded ones, this one, the one with the big hat, the small hat, the big book, the small book, the black book, the yellow book? How come no one else said it? I said, I don't know. Their problem. That's what's happening. She said, I have to move. I said, you do? When should I move? I said, today. Unless you want to see, these things more. You want to see him climbing your walls and you're... Did it work? Yes. She moved right away. Baruch Hashem, I think within less than 3 months, 4 months, not only did it stopped right away. All those things stopped right away. Right away, like instantly, like as if it was like a cure. Stopped right away. But Baruch Hashem, after she left, she had Dishmaya, and I believe she got married within a couple of months. So, you don't have to be Mekubal to use your common sense. Avodah Zarah affects the Jewish neshama in a very, very horrendous way. In a way that the non-Jewish neshama cannot understand. Many people talk to me and they send me emails and they send me different things about how they have night terrors or they have these dreams that are, what is it called? Where in essence they're awake but they can't move their body. I forgot what it's called. Sleep paralysis. They see things and all of that stuff. All of it is connected to idol worship. All of it, 100%. 100%. It's all connected to idol worship, one way or another. You have a statue in your house. You have an idol worshiper in your house. Something is happening, and it's 100% from idol worship. You have a coin. I'll give you a story. There was a guy, real story. In one of the Sefret Tzadikim, I forget which book it was that I read, but I have it in my house. I'll show it to you if you want. Guy has no luck, no money, no nothing. One day, finds a coin. Since the day he finds a coin, things change. Why? Coin talks to him. Little coin talks to him. Says coin says to him, "Hey, listen, Mr. Jew, yeah? Okay, listen. Go to this market. Give this guy 5 shekels for his beans. I'll tell you where to go. You can sell him $15. Coin talks. You going to listen or not? You listen. He goes. He buys the beans. $5. Sells it $15. Made $10 profit. Baruch Hashem. Mitzvah. Give MUSSAR now. So he goes and he does da-da-da-da-da-da. You fast forward. All of a sudden, this little guy with no money, no this, no luck, no nothing. All of a sudden, gvir. Ashir, gadol, really rich. Eventually becomes mamash well-to-do. And no one knows the secret. One day, the Gdol Ador, the original Rav Pinto, Alav Shalom, comes to the city there and he says, why don't you go meet the gvir, the shir, the wealthy guy. Comes to his house and he says to him, well, your father was very rich. The Chachamim are very, very Chachamim. They're called Chachamim for a reason. So your father was very rich? No, not so much. You invented something? No, not so much. He goes, what's the secret? Kvod Arav, no, come on, what's the secret? He goes, listen, because you're Kvod Arav, I'm not worried that you're about money or anything, but listen, Kvod Arav, let me show you. He takes him to a private room. He opens a safe, another safe, and a safe inside a safe, and a safe inside a safe, opens, got a little coin over there. Rav Pinto says to him, this coin has the tumah of Avodah Zarah inside it. Inside it is the foundation of Avodah Zarah. You must destroy it, you must get rid of everything. You must get rid of everything. Coin! Must get rid of everything. Very difficult test. People think that these mystical things don't happen, or they're far from the truth. People, I'm sure there's going to be at least 1 or 2 heroes that make fun of the story. Or, like I wrote it, like I made it up. Like I'm getting paid off by the Pinto family every time I say the story. But this is Am Yisrael. If you don't believe in miracles, you don't believe in Am Yisrael. We survived by a miracle. We are a miracle. We ourselves are a miracle. If you don't believe in these things that are beyond the norm, you don't believe in Am Yisrael, you don't believe in Elohei Yisrael, you don't believe in anything. And that's the thing, is that when it's Am Yisrael, and that's Kodesh. Hashem Yitbarach made the Torah and Am Yisrael mamash part of Him. So when you bring the polar opposite, the tum'ah, the impurity of the world, which is Avodah Zarah, which is nothing, you bring that and you connect it with Kodesh, the impact is extraordinary. It's as if You bring the simple little Jew, doesn't know nothing. He's a little innocent, 13, 14-year-old kid, little kippah, a little bigger than a quarter, has a couple of tzitziot. Everything's fine, doesn't know much, not Tamid Chacham, not big anything. You bring a little kid. You bring a little missionary, a statue, a cross, or any one of these things next to him. Now you can't see it with your eyes, but if you were, it would look, I'll give you the image, it would look like 30 atomic bombs just went off. Why? This is one end, and this is the other. This is purity, this is impurity. And it creates mamash an atomic bomb. So, this also affects the non-Jews too. Not to the same level, because they don't have the same level of kedusha, but nonetheless it affects them. And Hashem hates it. Hashem detests these avodah zarah, this idol worship. So that's why you see all of these tsunamis, all of these hurricanes, all of these natural disasters happen in the capitals of avodah zarah in the world. All of the capitals of avodah zarah in the world, that's where this stuff happens. You see major disasters happen in those places. Baruch Hashem, they're not happening in Bnei Brak. They're not happening in Bnei Brak. They're happening in different places. Why is avodah zarah? Why avodah zarah is destruction of the world. So, that's the thing that people need to understand. I'll finish it off with this, unless you guys have more questions. You have quick questions? Because then people complain about you guys. I'll finish it off with this. You have? Somebody? No? Okay. So, I'll finish off with this. The Gemara Masechet Shabbat talks about why is it that Hanukah, you light the candles. Why did Bet Hillel win the battle? Bet Shammai said you're supposed to light 8 candles, then 7 candles, then 6 candles, then 5 candles, and so on and so forth. Bet Hillel says, no, the opposite. 1 candle, then 2 candles, then 3 candles, then 4 candles. Why? He says, Bet Hillel says, you increase Kedusha. You don't go lower by Kedusha. You don't go by 8 Kedusha, 7 Kedusha, less Kedusha. You increase Kedusha in the world. You increase purity in the world. You increase holiness in the world. You don't decrease it. But Bet Shammai says, no, I have a raya. I have a proof that we decrease. What's the proof? The proof is Sukkot. Sukkot. What's Sukkot? Sukkot, we bring 70 korbanot. 70 cows. Each cow, $10,000. 70 cows, first day. Then less. Why 70? 70 representing the 70 nations. The Gemara in Masechet Sukkah says, if the Goyim knew what Am Yisrael does for them with those korbanot, with those sacrifices of the cows, they would send their armies to protect the Bet HaMikdash. That's how much good those sacrifices were doing for them. But they're stupid. They decided to destroy the Bet HaMikdash that was protecting them too. Fine, no problem. Anyway, he says, look, we have 70 cows for the 70 nations, but each day it's less, each day it's less, each day it's less. Just like Bet Shammai says with the Hanukah. He says, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. Why is it not the same? The parot, the cows, are representing the nations of the world. It's representing the material of the world, the physicality of the world, the Greek of the world, the Edom of the world, the basics of the world, material, money, all of that stuff. Torah is telling you, lower it. The oil, the candle, is representing the Kedusha. It's representing Torah. You increase it. You increase it. You don't lower it. It's not the same. You increase it. So now, one of the Chachamim, one of his students, he was explaining this to him, and he says to him, when a cow is eating, what's it think about? What's it thinking about? Well, it's a cow. It's probably not thinking. Don't be a cow. But more so, the cow is thinking that, look at all these people. They're serving me. They won't stop giving me food. A minimum, the biggest cow in the world. A minimum, the greatest. I'm the Gdolador of the cows. Look at, they're all serving me. This guy brought me grass. This guy brought me a wig. This guy brought me a this. They're all feeding me. They're all serving me. They're all doing one. Look. Little doesn't know, the Baalei MUSSAR say, little doesn't know, they're all feeding you because they're going to slaughter you later on. Now the olive, the little olive, what does he think when they're crushing him? They're crushing him, and they squeeze him, and they crush him, and they squeeze him, and they crush him, and they squeeze him. What is he thinking? Look at the cow. They're all serving this cow. They're all serving this cow. They're giving her food. How come I can't be a cow? How come I can't be a cow? But what happens? The cow eventually is slaughtered. It's material. It's worthless. It goes away. The olive becomes oil that lasts eternally. So my friends, don't be a cows. Be an olive. Baruch Adonai leolam. Amen ve'amen.